Red Sox.
I'm going to base my testimony on my life verse, which is John 8:12. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. And when I was younger, my mom left my mom when I was about 2, and I lived in Georgia at the time, and we moved to New York. And I would not see my dad for a couple of years, and when I did see him, it would be like once a year for a day, if I was lucky. So I grew up not having a dad, but I had a lot of stepdads, and they didn't really care for me too much. And the longest stepdad I had would beat my mom and me when I was in first grade all the way to 5th. And I would come home crying every day because I didn't want to come home. I wanted to stay at school and not be where my stepdad was, where he could hurt me or my mom. And I'd wake up in the middle of the night listening to him yell, and I just cried and wish I would die sometimes when I was just a little kid. And when my mom finally had enough is when I stood up for her and he was yelling at her and he pushed me down to the side, and my mom just finally decided to pack up and go away. And that's when I moved here to Northville in 6th grade. My mom married my other stepdad, who is currently my stepdad now, and he gets in my face and yells at me and calls me unworthless as well. And so I just felt like I had nobody that loved me or cared for me at all. And I just felt really alone, and I needed something to believe in, or just something to do. So I started going to my grandparents' farm, which is in Mayfield, and my grandfather would show me around and he taught me how to bale hay and stuff like that every weekend. And I kind of liked that, and as soon as I started feeling close to him and stuff, we went out and died in a motorcycle crash instantly. He was going to get a tractor part. And I just died again. I felt like everything was just starting to look up, just crashed down on me. And I had no idea what to do. And my older sister walks up and she's like, "Hey, why don't you come with me and I'll show you a good way to hide pain." And I went over to her house on the weekend while she was having a party, and she gave me drugs like marijuana and a drink too. And I denied it at first, but I gave in eventually after the peer pressure of several other people that I thought were my friends at the time. And I did this for about 2 months or a little over. And one day I went to a party and I met this girl, and that's all that I remember when I woke up next to her the next day. I didn't know her name or anything, and I was scared. But I asked her if anything happened last night, and thankfully she said no. So I'm happy I didn't sleep with her, because it's something I believe in, that if I'm going to have sex, I want to be with one person, someone I really care about. And then I just gave up on the whole party life and again felt alone and I had nobody. And I started going to baseball season, and after baseball games and baseball practice, friends would invite me to come here. So I did, and I played basketball, and we would skip out on the lesson because we didn't want to listen to it and go get a bite to eat somewhere. And this one time I just sat in and I listened to Christian talk. I didn't really get anything out of it, and I didn't really think it was for me at all. So I didn't really care. And then next week later, I was playing basketball and I saw Emily walk by, and I thought she was cute. So I had to say hi. And when I did, she introduced me to other good friends like Ken and her brother Scott. And they started talking to me and just asking me about God and stuff and what I thought. And I didn't really know what to think about it at first. So they invited me to the youth group, but I'd usually leave before the whole lesson happened because it just felt awkward being there. And they invited me to youth Sunday, which I went to, which again I felt awkward. And then one weekend I went to my grandmother's, which she has a church right next door. So I went there, and it's a really small church. It was about 10 people, and no one under the age of 50. I still felt like going for some reason. And it's the King James Bible they taught there, which is really hard to understand. But I still got something out of it, and I liked going there. So it started getting my interest, and I asked Emily, like, how do you get saved, like, let's do it. And she told me the whole story about how Jesus died on the cross for you, and I thought that was pretty crazy because I would die for anyone. And I asked how you get saved, and she told me that you got to accept Jesus in your heart, and you said a prayer, and after I said that prayer, I just got this good feeling, and I guess people call it Jesus high, and it's just amazing. It was times I actually felt like I was me, not someone else. And I've been having my troubles as a Christian still, and sometimes I get depressed when people pick on me for it, and it's hard to stay strong as a Christian. It's not like once you become a Christian, life is easy. It's not. It probably gets hard. And that's pretty much it.